Codependent versus co-pilot in life.
I have my little doggy Rook, so if you hear some noises, I apologize. The first thing I thought of is looking up the actual definition of codependency. It says it's a behavioral condition in a relationship where one person enables another's addiction, poor mental health, immaturity, or under-responsibility. A core characteristic of codependency is an excessive reliance on an other person and other people for approval and a sense of identity. Wow. Just me writing that down and realizing the parts of that definition just triggered so many instant thoughts of, oh my gosh, when I questioned my sexual identity, when I needed people to give me approval and validate that I was enough. So right away I knew that in my past I had struggled with a lot of the codependent tendencies. Versus the definition of co-captain is two people that share authoritative powers and serve as joint captains. So in the obvious, just looking at the two definitions, you want to be equal with people. Even if someone is your boss and you're learning from them, you should still be treated as equal. You know, you're gaining your competency, your skill, but I still respect where you are. And hey, you're my boss. I respect that you may be harder on me or set some standards that you want me to achieve, but I'm not feeling belittled or feeling like I'm not enough, because both people understand you don't have to use or abuse someone emotionally to feel well-rounded or have control or power over a situation. If you can align with your truth and know you're valuable, know your voice, there's no need to try to hurt someone to feel safe. Let's talk through some examples. Growing up, I was raised really religious and learned a lot of my core values from the Bible. The 10 Commandments comes to mind. Honor your father and your mother, thou shalt not steal, like the golden rule, treat others how you'd want to be treated. And I've found with me and my mom's relationship, it's been a little tricky during the COVID quarantine times, where my mom has an opinion about wearing masks and how she wants to approach her lifestyle right now. And I have a different opinion. And because of that, I'm not able to spend quality time with my mom in close contact, but I'm able to call her and connect with her, let her know I love her, and see what's been going on in her life, and kind of set like some hopeful opportunities in the future when we can be together in person. And realizing that my mom has some behaviors that were trying to control me, and when I was younger, I felt very obligated. Oh my gosh, I want to honor my mother and my father, and if I don't, I'm not a good girl and I might go to hell. And it's interesting because now as an adult, I step outside of that and I think, and my mom recently threw that back at me. I'm not going to wait to see you for a certain amount of time until you feel safe or comfortable. I'm not okay with that. I'm your mom and I will see you in person. And you know what the Bible says? You're supposed to honor your mother and your father, and you're not honoring me. And I just kind of giggled inside because I was like, I'm not a little child anymore. I'm an adult too, and I get to decide what's honorable. So I think it's important, sometimes when it's so close to home, it's hard to observe it so rationally when it's your parent or your husband and you love them so much and you only see the good, you can so easily be codependent. And then another example is one of my first loves. We were definitely co-pilots, co-captains. We rode horses, we built hay forts, we would sneak into the stalls and just make out for hours and hours, and we would just have so much fun eating pizza and then jumping on the trampoline, working on our sport skills, and the simple things of what love and relationships are supposed to be. Fun, supportive, easygoing. And then at some point in that relationship, as I was growing up a little bit, my parents started going through some separations where my dad packed his bags and left out of the house. And I didn't know how to communicate my feelings at that moment because my parents didn't role model that. They didn't teach me to use my voice or to talk about my emotions. They were emotions were either manifested through I'm going to throw things or hit people or scream, or they were showcased to me where my mom would just sleep for hours and hours and be, depressed. I didn't know that in between. So in this situation, I remember saying, I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to eat. And I think they'll notice that I'm not okay. And they started to notice, like, wow, Lindsay's losing weight. But unfortunately, I had been kind of a little bit chubbier at this phase of my life. I started getting compliments. Wow, did you guys notice? Lindsay's actually kind of maturing into this young woman, and I think she might be the prettier sister now. My sister had always been thinner, and the boys kind of like wanted to date my sister, and then I was just kind of the tomboy, a little bit chubbier, in the background, always hanging out with everyone. And so for once, I was getting compliments. I was pretty. I felt beautiful. And then that just stimulated me to diet more, to curl my hair, paint my nails perfectly. Literally, I would wake up every morning at 5 a.m. to curl my hair perfectly. I would paint my nails before I went to bed, and I would sleep like so perfectly so my nails didn't get messed up and they had to match my outfit. And I, started counting my calories so closely and doing a certain amount of sit-ups every night before I went to bed because it felt so good to get this outside validation. And I was being codependent. I had lost that co-captain mindset of I'm enough just how I am, and the focus of life should just be on fun and friends and relationships, happy, supportive, simple. And now outside was telling me, actually, you're better, Lindsay, when you're different than what you are right now. And so sadly, I had taken on codependency instead of being inside my own body and saying what I felt was enough or was valuable. And then going on to the next relationship, I started working with a trainer, and I really needed to learn how to feed myself properly, how much to exercise to be healthy. And this trainer actually had a lot of value to teach me. So it was kind of a co-pilot relationship in the beginning, and I started to build some interest in this person as an actual boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. But then throughout that relationship, this person struggled with using the outside world's opinion on how their body looked, where they were flexing in the mirror every night and telling me like, oh, you should maybe lean out a little bit more. Your body might look better at this weight, and then you're sexier. And by the way, you have to, save this a certain amount of money, and you can't spend any money, and, very regiment with their body, their finances. And I realized that I changed myself, everything about how I thought. I codependently absorbed their opinions of life. And I lived kind of in this external, abandoned, being inside my body for what they thought mattered. And then another relationship where I feel like it started out as co-captain, co-pilots. We traveled together. We experienced fun brunches where we'd make like a festive cocktail and we would dance and just be like, oh my gosh, like Sundays are the best. And being creative and thinking of each other, where I got to give unique gifts and see him smile, which made me smile. And then at some point, that person wanted more from me. They noticed that, wow, it was nice that you offered to clean the house, Lindsay. And I was like, oh, that made you happy. I could help out more. I could clean more often. And then it turned into the house was never clean enough. So let's clean it perfectly. And I wanted to do everything so perfectly because I was codependent that I even stopped wearing jeans because his mom was from Europe. And oh, these dumb Americans that, they wear jeans. She wanted me to be like Duchess Kate. So I threw away all my jeans. I only wore dresses and skirts. And I started carrying myself like the Duchess Kate. And my friends were not good enough. If my friends were not the traditional man and woman, and if they had any sort of sexual preference that was different, or they weren't lawyers or studying to be doctors, then why would I be hanging out with them? If I'm hanging out with people below their standard, then I'm not meeting his opinion on what's good enough. I wasn't allowed to see my mom more than once a year. And when we did have children, she wouldn't be allowed to be involved and help raise the children because she's just a farmer and, she's not of standard. My friends, I shouldn't be able to spend so much time with them, and they're not allowed to come over to dinner if their skin is a different color. So I observed a lot of these major things that this person that I first was a co-captain with, celebrating life and just being easy and natural and beautiful together, was becoming someone else and asking all these strange things that did not resonate with my soul. And so I kind of took a minute to step outside of, oh my gosh, I was changing everything about me, and am I that person? Well, I feel like this person is powerful and provides a lot of security, and I was kind of putting them in the position of God. And then I realized with them as my God, I wasn't happy. So while the world says if you have someone that makes a certain amount of money, carries this lifestyle, you should be happy. And I found myself in that type of relationship, and my soul was being torn out of my body, where everything that brought me joy, spending time with my friends that were different and colorful and sweet, and we had fun, they brought light into my life. Was I going to give that up? Was I going to change everything about myself? Was I going to be a mom of 3 children by the age of 35, and my children in the elevator wouldn't be allowed to say hello to other people that were beneath them? Wow, right? So I challenge you just to sit down, write out some major relationships that you've been in throughout your life, and see, were you giving away your power and thinking someone else's opinion was the right opinion, when all of your answers come from your soul? They're unique to you. They're your beauty, they're your voice, they're your gifting. And if you can be in a relationship with someone and say, these are my natural gifts, my beauty, I see your gifts and your beauty, it looks different, but that's neat. How can I empower your gifts? And how can you empower my gifts? And how about we come together with our gifts and we explore them, we understand them, we respect the differences, and then let's just have fun together.
When you lose codependency, you gain mental stability. Then you don't need a co-pilot in life, but you want one, because everything is so much more amazing when you get to share it with someone special.